This week, we're doing this guy, and it's pretty cool. This one's super simple, looks more complicated than it is. If you're following the cutting instructions, they're having you cut individual squares. If you haven't cut your fabric yet, I'm going to give you a hot tip how to make it just a little bit faster, because you know me, I like doing them a little bit faster if I can. But otherwise, if you've already cut your squares for that center checkerboard look, go ahead, just sew them together as it shows in the directions, and it's fine. It's not really any different one way or the other, except for this is just a smidge a little faster. So what I would tell you to do is actually cut strips. So you're using these two colors, just cut 2.5-inch strips of each, sew it together, press your seam. I pressed mine open. If you like pressing one direction or the other, I would say press to this darker blue. We always say press to the dark side. But I like my seams open. It just lays a little flatter that way, and doesn't give me any issues down the road. So once you press it open, I'll show you what you're going to do. So you have what you call your strata, your two pieces together, and you're going to take your ruler, any ruler, and what I do is I line up just one of my center lines in my ruler on that seam. And I'm just going to clean that end off, right? And then I have to flip it around, and then you start trimming. What I love about this ruler is one direction does the halves, so this has my 2.5. This is all whole numbers. I mean, you can use it either way, but I like having that 1/2-inch mark already nice and bold for me. And so then I line up 2.5 on that side that I just trimmed and cut. The nice thing is I can kind of check everything as I go. So I'll keep one line through that center seam line, and then the 2.5 on that left-hand side. If it's starting to look like what should be the clean edge is starting to kink one way or the other, get a little wonky or miscut, you can just clean it up and start over again. So sometimes if I look at it, like even this one, I'm going, okay, you probably can't tell, but there's a little bit of extra there. So sometimes I'll even just shift, cut it bigger than the 2.5, so keep my straight line in the middle, and then I can flip it around and just trim up that little part that's starting to bend. And because that's the problem with when you do one big long strip, is it's not always, doesn't always stay straight. Sometimes your 1/4 inch doesn't stay consistently a 1/4, all those kinds of things. So you just want to make sure you're doing the best you can to keep this side clean, nice and even on that seam, and then clean the other side. So don't be afraid to just keep checking it as you go and keep cleaning off the end as you need to, because if it's going one way or the other as you're sewing it to its next piece and part, it will keep making your block go weird if you don't keep an eye on keeping all your sides kind of nice level with that center seam. So a lot of times though, as long as this strata isn't too wonky, I can get a couple cuts out before I have to clean it. Okay, so you're just going to keep doing that till you have all these sections. So this was just a fast way to at least get to these 2-part units. And then what will happen is you will start to make sections of 4. Okay, so you're just going to take two-part units and sew a light one to the dark one, sew your 1/4 inch seam allowance so you start getting strata like this. I love when I have time to prepare ahead. Isn't that pretty? And then what you end up doing is then sewing them in the checkerboard. So all your units can look like this. You don't have to worry about which way they're going as long as it's light, dark, dark, light, you know, because all you have to do is flip them around. So this one's pretty easy. You just make your 4 units that look like this, start sewing them together until you get to that full checkerboard that goes in the middle. Okay, so pretty easy on that guy. The only other part that is in this is the 1/2 square triangle, which we've talked about before, but I will briefly go over it for you guys. So keep in mind, 1/2 square triangles, you're drawing a line on the background. This one's hard to tell, making sure it's on the wrong side. And then put your two squares, put your dark color in your background, right sides together, and you're going to sew 1/4 inch down both sides of that drawn line, right? So you end up with your two seams. Once you have your two seams, you can cut it apart, right? And then you go and you iron it. And once you iron them, you're going to clean them up so that they're 4.5 inches, okay? And once you do that, you are going to make them into essentially what's a flying geese block, okay? And you're going to have 4 units of this that you're going to put into it. And then it gets really simple. This is what I love. So then you start sewing your geese to your checkerboard and your corner squares to your geese here and just start coming in all together. It's really pretty simple once you get to these parts. You know, you just start assembling as the directions tell you. So that's what I love about this quilt is it's so gorgeous and it looks more complicated than it is, and these blocks just turn out so pretty. So as usual, if you have questions, need help, if you're new and just you aren't quite getting it or something's not working out for you, reach out to me. Message me via Facebook, through the group, call me at the store, whatever, Mindy at Quilting Mayhem. You can email me, any of those things. Reach out to me, ask for help. I'll gladly help you out if you're just stuck somewhere, if it's not working out, or if things are just, they keep getting wavy and not laying flat, any of those problems. There's all kinds of things that crop up as you sew, as you quilt. Just let me know. I'll gladly help you. Otherwise, you're going to make 2 of these guys, okay? And that's what we're doing this week. So block 2, yay! And otherwise, we'll see you next Friday. Have a great weekend. It's going to be a gorgeous weekend here. I am so excited to actually maybe get out in some sun. Yay! And you know what? You guys just keep on stitching.